some of you guys to check in. Just coming on briefly. I'm still yet to go on my YouTube and do a full upload of transits and stuff, but some of you know I haven't been well, literally for almost a whole month. Since the 25th of May I haven't been well, and since literally the day after my birthday, which was the 6th of June, I've just been throwing up and not had a good appetite at all. It's been quite rough going through this month, but what I've noticed is that this time has been a necessary time of purging, and this is why I've retreated a lot on my socials, not really said too much, because I feel, in fact, with myself, there's a lot of transitions that's happening with me and how I see the world, how I see myself in the world, how I see people, how I see humans. My whole reality is just shifting. A few years ago, I had some of the beliefs that I thought were just standard, things that were just naturally ingrained in me because, it was part of the journey, and I'm talking personally about my journey of understanding my personal history, Black history, whatever you want to call it, African history. And I don't even like to call it African history because our history is world history. It's not just Africa, it's not just the Caribbean. Our history literally expands to the whole world, including Britain. And just touching on that whole thing of identity in itself, like, I'm really struggling because I'm obviously, I'm a Black British. I live in Britain, born here, parents not. My parents are, my dad is Jamaican, my mum is St. Lucian. Both came here in the Windrush, and yeah, like, I'm born here. I'm a British national, and some people would say things like, well, you're African, you're this, you're that. But at the same time, I'm born here, and there's still Black history that is British. It spans beyond the Windrush. It expands beyond, generations, beyond the Tudors, beyond all of that, the Renaissance, beyond all of that. There's a lot more. So for me, I just am very careful about what I say or how I say things, because again, like I said, I'm going through a transition myself in how I identify with certain things, certain movements. I always want to be true to myself and what I feel I truly believe, as opposed to what I feel I'm being pressured to believe because of social pressures or political pressures or whatever. Like, I really will have a conversation about identity politics because I feel this is a very real thing we need to be talking about, and I just don't feel like right now is the time to be having it. Probably give it a week or so. I feel like there's still a lot of energies just floating around. People are still purging. And this is why I say it's very careful. It's very important to be mindful what you're saying in this time, because you could probably go back on your words. I mean, I've gone through a transition in the last 2 weeks, and certain things I was thinking 2 weeks ago that I've gone around in so many different times, I'm now going back and I'm like, how do I really feel? And I feel like this is a time where we just need to allow ourselves and each other to just go through this evolution, phase unapologetically. Some of us, you know, when Black Lives Matter came out 2015, 16, 14, some of us was in a different phase to where we're at now, and you know, it feels weird, but again, allow yourself to go through the shift, allow yourself to go through this evolution, this ascension, descension, whatever it is that you want to call it. I feel it's important, and I've said this before, this Aquarian energy isn't about bringing us all on the same page. That's not what this is about. This is about being able to recognize each and every individual, everyone as an individual, independent within themselves, that is part of a collective. We are all part of a collective, but we all have individual views. Like, we're all black, or I'm black, and I have a very different microcosmic experience to a lot of other different black people, as will so many other different black people. I can't just put myself under a complete category and just label myself as something. So I think it's important right now, whilst we're in this South Node in Sagittarius energy, we're really exploring some beliefs. There's one major thing that I'm really evaluating, and it's just the concept of racism in itself. It's not to say that this thing doesn't exist, but I'm starting to replace the word racism with prejudice, because I'm realizing there's prejudice everywhere. It's people. This is a people problem. It's not black or white, and the world is trying to make everyone see this thing in a very black or white boxed perspective, and it's so much bigger than that. Prejudice plays out. I was watching something yesterday, and it was this teacher who was talking to this group of white children, and she did like this experiment, and she was talking about racism, and instead of, because they were all white, she couldn't exactly say, you know, you guys are black, you guys are white. But what she did is that she said she segregated them in terms of their eye colors. You guys have blue eyes, you guys have brown eyes. Now then, she created a scenario to where there was discrimination between those different eye colors. You know, the blue eyes are much more intelligent than the brown eyes, and all of those types of things, you know, what happened in Jim Crow and all that type of stuff. But what was interesting is that the children actually started attacking each other quite disgustingly. It was literally like how racism would play out, exactly the same. So this is really prejudice. You can be prejudiced on so many different things, and sometimes we're unaware of our innate prejudice to so many different things. But this is a time where we need to be learning. We may not be aware of some things, but this is where we all need to be able to have an open conversation, void of our triggers, void of what we think this is reality, void of how much you think you're a victim in this situation, void of everything. You know, this is just a time to just converse in a way that is non-threatening, is non-defensive, and we can just begin to understand each other from a holistic perspective, from a balanced perspective. No longer creating assumptions, because that's what we love to do a lot of the times. When we're having conversations, instead of asking someone, what do you actually mean when you say that? We assume, that we put them in a box. Oh, you're automatically racist. Oh, you're automatically a coon. Oh, you're all of these labels, right? But that may not necessarily be the case. We just haven't learned to have a balanced, healthy conversation. Communication is the basis of this. Like, I've been noticing, this is why I've stayed silent. I've been observing a lot, and I find that in that observant stage I learn so much about myself, about people, about my reality, and I use it as an opportunity to just hold up a mirror to myself and just make sure that I'm not falling into the same trap. And I just advise everyone to just do that at a time. Just really look in the mirror right now. Like, this is a time where We really need to be doing the shadow work, you know? Like, we can't evolve. And this is another thing. I've even been looking at the concept of revolution versus evolution. And the term revolution has always been something that's been trumped. Oh, I'm a revolutionist, I'm a revolutionary. And when you look at the word revolve, in fact, that was actually you know, what would have been an orbit, something being able to revolve, like this, the planets being able to revolve around the sun. It's a very circular process. It's literally just reversing what's already been done. But when it comes to evolution is a expansive process that spirals out. It doesn't just go around in a circle. It's looking for new strategies, it's looking for new options, it's looking for new avenues, it's looking for new possibilities. It's being innovative. And this is the word that I gave for the beginning of this year. Innovation, quantum shifts, quantum leaps. We can't do that quantum leap going in a circular motion. So there's a lot of things that we need to be really evaluating in this time. What way do you really want to go? Do you just want to go back in this circle, back in this loop, looking back at the ways of the old and repatterning back a path based on that? Or just creating something completely new that is relevant for this age, right? A lot of the things that we're looking back at are not relevant for the age that we're moving into, that we're shifting into. So there's just a lot of things that we just need to begin to think about in this time. Like, where do you really want to go? Where do you see yourself in this shift? And make that the reality. Make that the basis. Like, again, I'm gonna do a proper video when I feel ready to really have that conversation. And I really ask you guys from now just to be patient with me when I do begin to speak, because, you know, those of you who know me, I always come real. I always come from my heart. I always come honest, and I always come balanced. I'm non-discriminatory. I can see the wrong in myself. I can see the wrong in other people. I can see the wrong in women. I can see the wrong in men. I can see the wrong in black. I can see the wrong in white. I can see the wrong in everything, right? But I can also see the right. I'm a Gemini. I naturally just have that ability to see the other side and have compassion for the other side. Just as much as there's a 6, there's a 9. I have to respect that. It's nature. It's law. It's natural order. It's universal law. I didn't create that. It's just the way it operates. So yeah, when I do come, like I said, just be patient with me. It may be very interesting, some of the angles that I come from, but again, I always have a reason for why I say something, and I just ask that you just walk with me, because it's real. This is a real thing that we're going through right now, and we can't come at this half-heartedly. And I'm really just excited at the fact there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. The real work is being done offline. We don't just talk online. We do what we need to do offline, right? Trying to make the connections, trying to establish the network, trying to create strategies, bring them into action, not just talking about it. So yeah, when the time comes to be able to release all of that, I will be able to do that. And yeah, so yeah, when I'm ready to come back, I will check in with you guys. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.